Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, children of all sizes and ages. Welcome back to Cone Racing League. It is, of course, round number 8, the finale of Season 12 here in Tier 2, and what a night we have ahead of us. I am your host and your comms for tonight, CRL Freefall, aka Scott, and once again, for the last time this season, I am joined by the one, the only, Jack Glowstick. How are you doing tonight, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing alright, thank you very much. A bit of a tired one. I only got up 30 minutes before this. But, yeah, I'm feeling alright. I'm rejuvenated for the final quali session of the season.
Good to hear, good to hear. It should shape up to be an interesting one, at least, because we have a lot on the line here tonight, folks. 10 points separate two of the contenders. But before we get into that, let's just review what happened last time out. The doubleheader, of course, Miami and Las Vegas. It was Danjo taking both wins, and that was crucial to what we're about to talk about because he is 10 points behind his brother Diddy, who could only manage a P3 in Miami and a P4 in Las Vegas. Pistol Racing, new reserve, I believe, is here tonight. Managed to also take P2 and fastest lap in Miami. Cavolis a solid P4 with Harry in P5. Las Vegas, of course, Danjo winning ahead of King 5 Panda, Harry Palmer, Diddy, and then Pistol once again up there. Shout out to Cavolis, so another strong result, P6. But all eyes to the top then. Diddy, 210 points. Danjo, 200 points. Effectively, this is the result we're looking on because Danjo is on a great little run here. If he wins, Diddy must come P2 or P3 with the fastest lap. That is the only way to win it. If Diddy comes P3, Danjo wins, and Diddy does not get the fastest lap. They're equal in points, but Danjo takes it on count back. So, plenty to shape up for tonight. I believe Little One is here. Harry Palmer is not. So Harry, P4 at the best he can do. Little One will be looking to jump himself, and also King 5 Panda, 20 points separating those three. And they've got a nice little midfield battle, including P6 in the standings. It's Jamie, who we're on board with right now on the flying lap, but he has invalidated up through not Aqua Rally, that's a completely different track. What's it called again?
Radio.
That's Radion, actually. Yes, you can tell it's been a while, eh? So we'll jump on board then with Pistol Racing Jack. He's currently coming into turn number 10, of course. Bruxelles, I don't know, there's different... Some people call it Brussels, I've always known it as Bruxelles. Into No Name, of course, turn number 11. A little bit of a misnomer there. It's the corner with no name, but everybody calls it No Name, so does it have a name? Answers on a postcard. Put on then the long left-hander of 12 before 13 and 14 of Campus, the right and left. Really got to... you got to use and abuse the curbs, but just be careful on them. They can get a little bit slippy. Stavlot 1 and Stavlot 2. That is Stavlot wide through the first part for Pistol Racing. Up through Blanchimont then. How brave is he going to be? How much ERS is he going to save for this back straight? That could be key to some of these drivers' quality laps. Of course, 18 minutes in this session. Get your best lap down. And then, of course, Jack, the last corner, the bus stop chicane. Co-Paradox a 43.444, but plenty of more lap times flying in. Pistol a 44.297. 43 flat for Diddy. As Danjo going to reply. I don't know what lap times we're expecting tonight here, Jack. You any idea?
Well, seeing as we're already in the 43s, I expect maybe high 42s, as we see Danjo with a 43.5. But yeah, I think about maybe low 43s, high 42s would be expected. As King 5 Panda, so it's the exact same time as Diddy, but because Diddy set the lap first, he is currently in pole. That is actually impressive that they've managed the exact same time. Can we maybe get a third, reminiscent of the 97 Jerez Grand Prix, where 3 people got the same time? It was Frentzen, Villeneuve and Schumacher.
I see Jamie Morris has been rubbing off with you with them F1 facts coming in clutch. Hi Jamie in the comments already as well, that's why I mentioned them in there. You did a brilliant job last week, mate. Thank you very much for stepping it in to cover. A little weird glitch there. Harvey going down the Blanchimont straight, are we going to call it? Yeah, let's go with that. And middle of the track looked like he hit a marker board, so hopefully that's not a sign of any UFOs or anything like that going to affect the race. Up to the line of 43.852, and just on that, equal lap times, Jack. It's the first time I've ever seen it. The driver in P2 with the purple time, but of course, Diddy setting it first. Technically gets the pole, but it's weird that the game puts King 5 Pandas in the lead. I wonder if he's been messed out by a rounding issue there.
Yeah, possibly. That's, as you say, that's not something I've never seen either. But also, Pistol Racing, he got his first podium in, I think it was Miami. So well done to him. And he is a full-time, I think he's full-time now. So, yeah, well done to him. And Jamie goes up to P4. Only a couple of attempts, not even a couple of attempts, a couple hundredths separating the top four. So it's really close. But like most tracks, to be fair, and this tier as well is quite close racing, which is nice to see.
It has been some decent racing over the course of the season, yep. And just, yeah, you're bang on there with Pistol Racing taking the full-time seat in the Red Bull. There's been a number of, Diddy and Danjo, of course, have been the two standouts. It's the reason they're fighting for the title in this last race. But this man here we're on board with, Cavalis, showing some times of great pace. A man as well, not here tonight, of course, celebrating the birth of his child recently. Claire PR, although he's only got 8 points, little bits of consistency maybe let him down, but showed some great pace. Assis Tobes, DC for coming back, showing that bit of pace and fighting up there at times. Harry Palmer, King 5 Panda, Little One, Strauss, Cole Paradox at Spain particularly stands out to me. There's been a real mix within that second to sort of seventh battles every week. It seems like a different couple of drivers are mixing it up there, and it's just been Diddy and Danjo consistently fighting for the wins, and if they're not in the wins, they're still fighting for the podiums. Cavalis, though, fighting his car at the moment, going through Stavelot, and is that on track? Is that on pit entry? Looking at the mini-map.
I believe so, but I'm just going by... Yeah, it must have been. I think it might have been as he was coming into the pits.
It looked like it. There was the dark blue dot there, just where Cavalis' red dot is now. I think it is, and then it disappeared. So Jamie, currently in P4, as King 5 Panda puts in the fastest lap of a 42.912, making contact with the entry. We've seen it before on ACC, Jack, with the pit lane can get blocked here. So it isn't totally outside the realm. And let's not forget, Spider Rob, the reserve, had his little incident with the pit entry at Spain. So hopefully a lesson before the race. Let's just say that. Yeah,
I reckon he's just cut the inside too much as he was coming in. He's gotten, he just came in he just cut the corner basically, I reckon, and just kind of. I don't know. It couldn't react quick enough to where there's a barrier there. My inside tyre can hit that.
Unfortunate for him. Currently P4, so that will be the best he can muster. And Wiban going to need to muster another lap, running wide through Blanchimont there and invalidate. And we're going to jump on board then with Harvey, take us through 95% of a hot lap here, up through Eau Rouge, and this is Radion actually, and then the Kemmel Straight, one of the longest straights on the calendar. DRS, although he is on non-ERS, so I wonder if he's actually, has he backed off, maybe having a bit of a stinky first couple of corners. It looked, well,
I think that answers your question.
That's slightly illegal, Harvey, I'm not going to lie to you, my friends, because that could be construed that you're cutting the track to get round. Yeah, fair enough. He's maybe just finished a run and I've maybe just caught him wrong. We'll catch the second part of the track then with Cole Paradox. Of course, a really good quality result in Spain. A little bit of misfortune in the race. And I'm trying to just, off the top of my head, I can't quite remember, but if you bear with me, about 15 seconds. Currently P8 in the championship standings. I think Mick will be a little bit disappointed with how the results have came this season. Showing flashes of the pace that we know he's got, but just not able to consistently do it in the race. Does improve on his time though, but only by 74 thousandths. No improvement in position. Somebody that needs to make an improvement in position, Danjo, effectively now has to win tonight. Can still technically win the title if he finishes 7th, and Diddy finishes 13th or lower, or effectively doesn't finish. And Danjo is on a flyer here, 6 tenths up at the end of the second sector here. That's going to put him right in contention with King 5 Panda's time of a 42.9. A 10 for 2 through the Blanchimont or the bus stop chicane here, Jack, could be the difference. Round the final corner, still got a little bit ERS to burn right at the end. Deployment news now, a 42.967, losing a bit of time there I think in the final couple of corners, but a solid time and puts him crucially up with Diddy. And I don't know if you noticed what happened to Strauss, but he's missing a front wing.
No, I've completely missed that. But you're right, he is missing in the front wing. But what Danjo needs tonight is he needs to win the race, and then he needs Diddy to finish 4th or lower. And it is difficult, especially saying Diddy has been very, very consistent. He's been top 5 every race, I believe. So you're asking for a lot, but anything can happen in F1. Anything can happen in motorsport. So
absolutely, I think technically he only needs Diddy to finish 3rd, and just not get that fastest lap. So there is potential. And like you say, I mean, it's a long race. Anything can happen. Something that is still happening is Cavalis is running wide. I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but I think this is the 4th time I've jumped him on a validated lap, Jack. It's not quite going well for a man that's put in some stunning quality performances so far this season. But 5 minutes on the clock. Really, it's one of the longest circuits on the calendar. We all know that. It's near enough a 2-minute lap, although it's not much of a difference in lap time. You compare it to something like Baku, but it's still a lot longer than, say, Miami, than Las Vegas. So there's going to be a little bit, maybe a little bit more juggling with who's going to leave it too late to get it out, who's going to leave it, perfect timing. Of course, the benefit of a longer track, more time to space out. On 15 cars tonight, that shouldn't be an issue. Agast Alloy is coming into the pits, so won't be in a lap. King 5 Panda though, Jack, I think has just started one.
Yes, coming down through this turn 2 and then up through Eau Rouge, and Radion I believe is the top bit. I think. But anyway, going down the Camel Straight, opening up DRS in hot lap mode. Does he improve in the first sector? Is he improving? He is by a 10.5, pretty much, as he coming through Le Cons and down this little straight for turn 10 of Bruxelles, I think it's pronounced. Bruxelles, whatever it is.
We'll go with that.
No name. We'll go with that. No name. And then through the usually flat. Does he take it flat? He does, and he pays the price. He goes a bit wide through Pouon, and that's his lap invalidated.
Crucially though, 3 minutes on the clock. As long as there's petrol in that car, or fuel, let's not assume it's petroleum. Could be anything. Jet fuel, whatever it is they use, any fuel in that car, 100% ERS, can go again, and does have time. And not seeing any indicators on the dash or anything like that, so I think should be good for one. Kaelin Bartlett, Wuban, DC, Little One, all starting their outlaps. 3 minutes on the clock, so giving it plenty of time. It's not long enough if they mess up like King 5 Panda there, to be able to get a second lap in, it'd be pretty tight. In fact, it's going to be guy near impossible for that to happen. So all of these drivers now onto their final runs, and we're going to keep in with our provisional pole sitter now then, Jack. Attempt number 2 at this.
Yeah, attempt number 2 coming through Erosion ready on. What I will say is I feel Little One is a little bit out of position from where he usually is, so you can usually see him in about maybe 7th or 6th or higher sometimes. Is he improving, Panda? Yes, he is, by almost 69 thousandths of a second as he's coming through Le Combs and through the right-hander long hairpin, basically, of Bruxelles. And now turn 11 of No Name. Pretty nice, I must say. Now through the... Does he take it flat this time? He does, and actually manages to not keep it wide through Pouon. So well done. And now coming through turns 13 and 14, I think, Campus. I think they're called. And then turn 15 of Stavilo. Pretty nice. Is he improving? He's improving by a tenth and a half. As he's now going through the pole free air curb, or whatever it's pronounced. And now Blanchimont. This flat left-hander. Turn 18. And then up to turns 19 of 20 of the bus stop chicane. In through the right, into the left. Open up the throttle, up to the line. What's it going to be for King 5 Panda? He's improved by 4 tenths at 42.5.
Brilliant lap from the Aston Martin driver. Danjo then, 4 tenths adrift, is in P2 ahead of championship rival Diddy, both of them about to start their laps. Strauss on a lap. I think the most advanced driver on the flyer is going to be Real DC. 3 tenths up, if we're going to believe that top right hand of the screen. And then it is going to be the Ferrari, I believe, of Wuban, or potentially a Williams. It depends what order they are. To be fair, both Williams are on outlap. So what we one of them. DC then, can he get this final chicane together? Can he improve on P13? He does. P12 it is. Dropping Little One down to P13, although Little One also on a flyer. Kalen on a flyer, and second sector split, almost a second up. Let's ride on board then with Kalen through this final sector. The checkered flag has fallen. Agast Alloy not making it to the line in time to start the last flying run, so will be P10 at best, although it's looking to be P11, sorry. With the pace Kalen is putting out at the moment. Into the final chicane, that red flashing light, a little bit of a step out, eager on the throttle. And it is going to be a 43 flat, provisional P3 at the moment. Little One in the background there, coming up to the line, goes P12, dropping DC back down to 13th. Cavolis on a flyer, King 5 Panda isn't. Diddy and Danjo, let's crack on with them. Danjo, about a quarter of a second up then, needs at least 4.5 tenths to get pole position. Has he got enough in the final few corners? Strauss, though, not keeping an eye on him, up into 42.836, provisional P2 at the moment. But can Danjo snatch it away? Can he snatch pole away from Panda? Can do neither of those. Kalen in P4, of course, ahead of Diddy. This needs to be a crucial last corner for Diddy. And it is only P3, right behind the brother, right behind the championship rival. And I believe we've just got Harvey. DC is not on one, Wuban is not on one, so it'll be Cavolis and Harvey Jack to round off this qualifying session. Cavolis yet to put a lap time in, running very low on fuel and ERS, although that does tell you he's maybe maximised everything through this lap. Up to the line, has been pole this season, but only P10. Harvey then up, it does not improve, and that'll be qualifying, Jack. So Panda from Danjo from Diddy. If they finish where they start, Diddy takes the title. But you know that King 5 Panda is going to be looking behind, and he's not going to make it easy for Danjo, but he's not going to, I don't know, is he going to fight it too hard? We'll wait and see. He'll be desperate for the win, will Panda. Danjo, of course, desperate for the win to maybe get the title, and Diddy has just got to stay out of trouble. But Strauss and Kalen behind. They're not much in these lap times, Jack. We're in for a good 22 laps, I would say.
Yeah, this is being a very close quali. Danjo and King Fly Panda separated by like 10 milliseconds. It's impressive, especially around the longest track in the F1 calendar. 10 milliseconds is literally nothing. So for them to be that close is impressive. Diddy only a tenth behind them. It's just been close, and the top 10 only separated by just under 9 tenths. So it's just really close. So yeah, Kim Fi Panda in P1, Danjo in P2, Diddy P3, Strauss P4, Kalen P5, Jamie P6, Harvey in P7, Co Paradox P8, Topes P9, Cavalos P10, Pistol Racing P11, Agast ILI in 12th, Little One in 13th, DC in 14th, and 15th was Wuban.
Sets us up for an interesting race. Like you say, one of the longest tracks on the calendar. 0.010 separating our top two. Just under 2 tenths separating the top three. Shapes things up nicely. Looking ahead to the race then, Jack, it's looking blue sky. We have seen mixed conditions here in the past. Of course, Hedgehog's brave call in many seasons ago during mixed conditions. I'm sure a lot remember. And then, of course, the drama that was, I believe, season 4 with the Academy wiping out half the field up Eau Rouge and Radio. And so, there is possibility of the mixed conditions and strategy calls. There is the possibility of virtual safety cars and safety cars. And then there's the strategy call. Do you go for the soft, medium, maybe a soft, hard, medium, hard? They're all pretty viable. I mean, the hards are going to go a long way through the Grand Prix. The mediums are pretty much good for at least half distance. Slightly more if you can stretch them. If you can just make those softs last a lap or two, it could be viable. Of course, if the rain or safety cars comes, that could have a big impact. But a big decision for the guys sitting on the grid right now.
Indeed. I don't know much about strategies around here, but well, I don't think many people do. So it's just literally taking a bit of a guess, taking a bit of gamble, and see what happens. Most people on mediums, 4 people on softs, and then 2 on hards. So mix of strategies, like there usually is.
It's interesting though, Diddy and Strauss both on softs as DC has been disconnected. Are you able to chuck him a little extra invite, Jack, just to hopefully get him back in? But yeah, Diddy going for that aggressive strategy on the softs, maybe looking to jump Dan and take off from there. The mediums, of course, you're gonna get half the distance into the race. There is time for a safety car, and there's also that variability in the strategy. You know, it gives you options. Harvey P7 on the hards. Now we've seen hard runners starting in the sort of the front part of the pack in Spain. It didn't quite work out. Dropped quite heavy, but the right setup and of course quite a powerful DRS. As long as you can stick to that car in front, it might be able to pull you along. And I think Ruban's going for quite a good strategy almost, a sense. You know, starting P15, why not gamble it on the hards? Just, like I say, if you can keep in tow with a couple in front, you go the hards, you run it out long and keep yourself dragged up the field as long as you can, and maybe you hope for a safety car just after the medium runners pit, and suddenly you've got a nice net track position a little bit higher up the field. So we've got all 3 options on show. I'll be honest with you, Jack, as well. I'm not 100% sure which is the best of the 3. We'll find out pretty shortly. I'm curious what's going on with this safety car or this formation lap, because Strauss is a little bit back. It doesn't matter too much because the guys' tyres aren't going to cool down when they're on the grid, but You never know. Somebody could be a little bit cheeky if it came to a title decider and maybe put a report in. I'm not going to speculate on that, Jack. I don't think we should. But just something to note. It's a different strategy from Strauss. And then, of course, invalidating his grid box. Love to see.
Just like to point out, Panda is pointed towards Danjo. And there's a car in the middle of the track. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there's some odd shapes here in the grid boxes. The last grid boxes and the last shapes of the season here on Tier 2, because we have 5 red lights in Belgium. Lights out, and away they go. Panda getting a good start. Diddy getting an alright start, and well, and in fact is going to jump ahead of Danjo into turn 1. In fact, is going to send it up the inside to go from P3 to P1 before we even get round the first corner. That is crucial for his championship hopes, and now needs to burn through those softs, pull a gap, and try and stretch it out before they start to die off. Strauss holding in P4. Jamie, Coprados, Caleb Bartlett, Harvey, Cavola's Pistol, Agast Ally, Tobes, Little One, Wiban getting ahead of DC, who I believe is back in, and Danjo getting ahead. Oh, this is getting scrappy. Diddy dropping from P1 down to P4, maybe just saving on the ERS. Strauss ghosting there, getting half swung around. There was a little bit of wing damage. I think that might have been on Strauss, but Diddy maybe just being conservative with the ERS usage. Danjo maybe wanting to just burn through some and get ahead. We've had half a lap of racing, virtual safety car, Jack, and it's spiced up already.
Yeah, good. I would say good energy usage from Danjo. He wants Diddy behind him, so Diddy can kind of chew through them tyres, so he can kind of pull away as well. Tobes at the back causing the virtual safety car. I believe he's missing both of his end plates and a bit more. So yeah, that's why this virtual safety car's come out, and it is ended. So, and Danjo leads from Panda. So I think Panda got caught a bit napping there, although he is catching, which makes me suspect Danjo is running a higher downforce setup compared to Panda.
That's, of course, one thing we haven't touched on. There is a variety of setup options here. You know, you want that straight line speed for the Kemmel straight and such, but you need that downforce for the middle sector. I'd just like to point out as well, James Forstar, of course, races in Tier 1, making the prediction that Tobes will have wing damage by lap 7. It took half a lap, James. Well done on that prediction. Who needs enemies when you've got friends like that? Diddy, though, getting pretty close to the rear of King 5 Panda, going by the split there. Losing a little time up for Eau Rouge and Radion, of course. But Danjo going to be sitting wide open with the DRS. Diddy not going to be close enough to have a move, but the title decider here might not be Danjo and Diddy as things go on. It might end up being King 5 Panda, because if Panda wins the race, it makes Danjo's job that bit hard, and Panda has been saying to us he is going to try everything to win this. And then we've got a little bit of a loose cannon, shall we say? Jamie, P4, his teammates right in front of him, competing for the title. How hard is Jamie going to race him? I don't know if there's going to be that teamwork working together. Maybe, you know, Jamie, we've seen as a competitive driver, has got the pace. Is he going to just, nah, back off, I'll let you have this one for the title, or is he going to get mixed in and get the elbows out as such? Harvey and Wiban then having a scrap. DC was having a scrap with Wiban, and I suppose just before I forget as well, Little One and Tobes both pitting, both onto the hards, will be able to just about go to the end of the race, but those tyres will be screaming at the end. A lot of action to keep an eye on here though, Jack. I don't know about you, I'm constantly flicking up down through the field, but I'm going to keep an eye on the front three for the time being. I think we could see a Diddy attempt on Danjo potentially in this lap. He needs to try and get the move done before the softs die out. And, of course, the benefit with the softs, Jack, he can pit a bit earlier and maybe undercut. The downside of that, safety car at the wrong time, it could be all tears. We'll see if a move is going to appear from any of these drivers here, Jack, down the Kemmel Straight.
Danjo's getting closer. Panda defends the inside. He parks his car in the middle of the track, good defending, but at the moment remains the same. I'm surprised. If only it wasn't Monaco, or if only it was Monaco, Diddy could deploy Liam Lawson tactics, or Jamie could deploy Liam Lawson tactics and hold up everyone. But unfortunately, it isn't Monaco. We're actually at Belgium. Still historic though, but yeah. Oh, as Jamie runs a bit wide there, that's going to be a warning. Speaking about warnings, it's very. There are some corners that are very easy to run wide on and pick up warnings, so expect to see pens during this race. Strauss has already picked one up in the first lap of racing, so it is easy to pick up penalties. Absolutely.
Of course, the key one's going to be Radion running up that hill. You take it a little bit wrong, you could drift up to the left at the top of the apex of the hill and cut the corner ever so slightly, picking up one. And like we've seen there, through the exit of Puon, Strauss losing out to Cole Paradox. You mentioned his name, and the action comes straight to him. I do believe Strauss, I'm not 100% sure. I haven't had a good look. I think he might have been one of those with some damage. Pistol racing into the pits, as was Little One last lap. And Cavolis, getting very close to the rear of the Haas. The medium runner Ferrari chasing down the soft runner of Strauss in the Haas. Jump back to the front quickly though. Danjo versus Panda. Attempt number 2 then for the McLaren. He looks to be closing a lot quicker this time. King Phi Panda not going to be able to put up that defence. Jamie though is getting past Diddy. Is Diddy just being conservative with ERS, or is it set up and Strauss getting a 3-second penalty? Is there something else happening back there as well?
It looks like Danjo just kind of, I think he had a bit of a moment coming out of the comms, held the Panda up a wee bit. I'm actually quite surprised that Jamie did overtake Diddy, but although maybe if Jamie is the quicker, has the better tyres, maybe he does want to push to maybe try and hold up these guys. Also, I am going to confirm. Strauss does have that damage, or left side in-flight damage, so that's going to be hindering him in a bit. And that's probably why he is picking up more penalties than others. So yeah, he has got that damage, and he is on 6 seconds of penalties. Not
a way to start the race after what's about to be 4 laps. Maybe the Racing Bull strategy here as well. Like, let's remember, if Danjo finishes second, even with the fastest lap, Diddy needs to finish 5th or lower. Now, maybe Diddy's thinking, instead of me getting in the way, or maybe getting overtaken, maybe getting forced into a compromised position, let's let Jamie go through. He's in the same tyres as Danjo. Let's not corrupt this race. He's going to be racing on him on the same strategy. Give him every chance to race him. Maybe take a position. Maybe I'm not going to promote, the idea of an incident, but you definitely can lose time battling somebody. And maybe that's what he's looking at. King Phi Panda though not losing time on that straight and getting the move done on Danjo, as Harvey and DC battling out pretty similarly in the background. Crucially though, Jack, it's kind of like what we were saying earlier on. There's never been a sort of 1 or a 2 car train. Maybe Hungary to a degree, because obviously the strategy calls were massive there about the undercut, and that some guys played that to perfection. But once again, 8 car train here to the leaders, and one I'm looking an eye on is Cavolis. Up 4 positions already from P10, has cut through Strauss with the wing damage, and I mean, fair play to Strauss for holding on with the wing damage, got past Cole Paradox, and now maybe starting to look at a charge on Kalen and the front 4. We're almost a quarter of the way through this race, and yeah, there hasn't been a huge amount of overtakes other than the guys at the front swapping positions, but you just get the feeling that something's about to get tasty, particularly with the strategy calls and towards the end, or the mid part of the Grand Prix. It's setting itself up nicely, and King Phi Panda just accelerating that, or accentuating, I should say, with the fastest lap. These guys have got serious pace, and they're all going to be pushing each other, all in different strategies. What a way to end the season.
Yeah, this is definitely going to get spicy towards the end. We've got a championship battle to decide. We've got battles up and down the grid. It's just exciting racing. As Jamie, he's actually using to try and get past Danjo. He's looking for a move down the inside. Can't find the move as Danjo goes a bit deep, but Jamie can't find the move. I thought he was going to maybe go for a send, but can't find the... it just isn't close enough, but he is willing to try and go for that move.
Statement of intentions there, maybe. Of course, if it finished as it is, you know, this is enough, and then this is maybe what Jamie's thinking. Maybe Jamie's thinking, Diddy's pace-wise with these softs, maybe strategy-wise, there's a chance it might not work out. He can maybe get up to 4th or 5th. So I need to put the spanner into Danjo's race here. Panda's got the pace to definitely compete at the front, and he's been holding off even without the DRS and running a pretty solid race so far. So maybe Jamie's looking at that and thinking, right, Panda can win this race, I can get P2, and that'll help my teammate enough, because Danjo finishes P3. All that Diddy needs to do is finish P6 or P7 with the fastest lap. Every position Danjo drops in the race at the end makes Diddy's life so much easier for the championship. Strauss then into the pits off the softs and likely for a wing change. I imagine he was just holding out, hoping for a safety car of some variety. Jamie there having a little half move into turn 1. Almost squeezed, almost lost a bit of time, but these front three separated by just about a second. Danjo getting quite a poor run through Erosion Radio on there, losing a slight touch of time. But look at how powerful the ERS and DRS. Jamie going down the middle. Danjo overtakes Panda, but gets overtaken by Jamie and stays in P2. This is... Oh, that was a big slide. This is what I'm thinking he's going for. Maybe a touch of personal glory, but maybe a touch of I can be that front gunner, I suppose, for my teammate in this battle. That was... I respect the guile and the dedication to send it through the middle there, Jack.
Yeah, very optimistic, but very good move at saying that. As we have, little one, he's in the wall, and Strauss as well, he's in the wall. Separate incidents there. Pistol racing, and I think little one got a little bit touchy through the comms, and I think Strauss lost it at the halfway through. So that is a virtual... No, that is a full safety car.
Full safety car. Of course, the glitch on this game, folks, just in case you're wondering, why does it say virtual safety car and we're saying safety car? Virtual safety car has turned into a safety car, but until I believe we get another yellow flag, it will say that there's constantly a virtual safety car, so you're going to have to bear with us. This is the time then you throw on the hard. So it came a little bit early for Jamie, for Danjo, for Panda. And, well, this could be the downside for Diddy, for letting his teammate, not letting him through, but having his teammate in front. Double stack. Let's see, how is this going to affect the total positions here? Is Jamie going to get a nice early, clean pit box? Into the lane he goes, gets away. Diddy gets held for a bit, has lost out to, of course, Danjo, has lost out to Panda, who were in front, but also then loses out to Kalen, to Cavolis, to Cole Paradox. This, in almost trying to help, this could have hindered his teammates' race. Crucially though, starting on the softs, Diddy has now chose to go on the mediums. 14 laps is definitely doable. He is going to have a lot more pace in the initial laps. It's just those last few, but maybe, just maybe, banking on a late safety car. What have you spotted?
I think I just spotted Jamie going into the wall up the straight, but he's not got any damage. And I definitely saw a blue car going off at the front. So that is weird. I don't know what Jamie did, whether he was trying to warm up the tyres and he did a Scott McLaughlin at the Indy 500. But yeah, he's still in the race. So
It's a strange one. Yeah, even with, the low speed and that, but just you would expect to see some damage, whether it is just very minute damage and we can't, it's not graphically shown. Potentially could just be some desync. Is Danjo in the grass there for a split second, and also through the Lacombe section. I don't know if you noticed, Panda nearly into the rear of Danjo. So yeah, under the safety car, getting just as spicy. So then, everybody into the pits pretty much. The oldest lap tyres then 2 laps old. The front 6 all on brand new hards. The next 3, 7, 8 and 9 of Diddy and the 2 Williams on the fresh mediums. DC in 10th on the fresh hards. Ahead of Pistol on the fresh mediums, who we believe is one of the cars involved in the incident bringing this out. Wiban, 2 lap old hards, of course made that pit stop earlier on. Tobes on a lap old mediums, and Little One on fresh mediums. I think with the whole virtual safety car and that, was maybe the virtual safety car for Little One and Pistol, and then Strauss doing a U-turn and turning left at a right-hander, I believe, is what caused the safety car. That's it's not my prediction. We're just gonna that's the truth. That's the facts, Jack. We're just gonna run with that. Coming just shy of the halfway mark then, so we're gonna have lap 9 under the safety car. So we're going to get running again on lap 10. It will give us a 13-lap race to the end. Just about enough for the mediums to get there. Of course, there will be 15 laps on the display, but 2 of those laps under safety car, you're not really going to have too much wear. And there's also the potential for a poor season for Strauss. He'll be a little bit annoyed DNFing at this final race. Not quite his home race, but not too far away from where he is located. Of course, did miss quite a lot of the season due to being on holiday. Let's not mess about. But still, 30 points, was only 3 behind DC, 10 behind Tobe. So we'd have hoped to try and get in the mix and gain a few positions. Now has to worry to the likes of Agast Alloy, 14 behind. Unfortunate for Strauss. Anyway, lap 9 out of 22. We should get racing for lap 10, Jack. And, what a race it's going to be.
Yeah, I can see this getting spicy. Unlike most things, I like a lot of things spicy, especially my food. But maybe that's why I'm a bit bigger than others. Like my food maybe a bit too much. But anyway, fruit waffles are great. Belgian.
You caught me out so bad with that. Yeah, I was not expecting that.
but yeah, I can see this getting very exciting. Half the cars half on hards, half on mediums. Will the mediums last towards the end? Scott reckons so, but they'll be begging for sweet release.
Yeah, they're gonna. I think around about lap 18, we're really gonna see them stop to suffer, and then the last couple of laps, it's gonna be tentative, shall we say? The hards, of course, are not gonna have an issue getting to the end. They're gonna be obviously a bit slower in these initial laps as the safety car does come in, and they are that little bit harder to warm up, which I think we can all agree is an art form in this game. Some people just seem to be able to warm the tyres up pretty easy. Some people, myself included, pretty much restart every one of them with stone cold tyres. So that could be a big factor in these initial laps. Of course, no DRS on the first lap, so lap 10, 0 DRS. It will be up the Kemmel Straight on lap 11. We'll first see the rear wings reopen. But it is going to be Jamie taking us through the restart. Any of the drivers listening, don't do what I do as well. Don't leave your ERS on none unless, of course, you really want to. Hopefully that doesn't affect anybody too negatively. But Jamie Jack is getting them bunched up really, really nice. That is quite a tight pack in the sort of top 7 or 8. And it looks like he is going on the exit of the bus stop chicane. Does get a decent launch from Danjo, 7 tenths. Although 6 tenths pretty much separating all of the top 5. Did he though? Oh, did he have enough room? Yes, he did. up into P6, gets the move on Cole Paradox with a brave lunge, and I think it's what his race needs now. He has to go chase down at Danjo. Danjo currently in P2, Jack. That would see him get 24 points. Diddy in P6, although Danjo down to P3. This is where it gets interesting. If Danjo finishes second, Diddy has to finish in the top 4. If he finishes first, Diddy pretty much has to finish second or third with fastest lap. And if Danjo finishes third, Diddy can finish as low as 7th with the fastest lap. So it's really just... Diddy's almost got to just forget about Danjo and just run his own race as fast as he can. Danjo's got to forget about Diddy and run as fast as he can, because the higher position he is, the better chance he has got. Wiban and Little One. Ooh, that was a great save from Wiban there. I don't know if you caught that, Jack. They were battling through No Name, and Wiban almost bringing the safety car back out. Let's just leave it at that.
I didn't get to catch that now, but by your reaction, it must have been a great save. Just like to point out, Bandit used a lot of his ERS there, so I think he's fighting for his own race, but it looked like he's also maybe putting a statement out there for Danzo, is like, I will overtake you when I have a chance. And now he's only 9/10 behind Jamie, so yeah, good ERS usage, but now he's not got much, and he's just the fastest lap. So also, I was thinking, because I've been saying like, oh, Danjo needs to get P1 and Diddy needs to get P4. I was thinking F1 real points, like F points in real life, not CRL points. So I forgot what actually CRL points are, so that's kind of bad.
Don't worry, I've got it sitting in front of me. I can do all the maths on that aspect. And we'll do the maths as Diddy moves up to P4. It would be a Diddy title as it stands. And crucially, like you're saying, King Five Panda using that ERS as Little One in DC, battle it out, has broken DRS. Danjo needs to get back into it. He needs to win the race, essentially, at this point. With Diddy finishing up in P4, potentially even P3. And this is where the games could be started to play, because I know I did just say they want to go and run their own race. They want to finish as high up as they can. But if Diddy knows the guys in front are clear, Danjo's not going to catch him, and he's going to run out of life in his mediums, does he just sort of hang in there and just chill behind? Like, he doesn't want to necessarily overtake Dan, and then maybe be the bridge to the gap to the front runners and give Dan a run into the lead race later on. Maybe he does. Maybe he wants to go out and win the title in style and win the whole race. Maybe he's not even thinking of that. Maybe I'm just over-analysing here, but there's so many mind games and battles going on. Cavalis on the rear of Kalen once again. Agastali with a 3-second penalty. Crucially though, this title is going to be decided not by Diddy and Danjo at the moment, but by King Five Panda and Jamie breaking that DRS. 10 laps to go, including, or plus this one I should say. It'll be an interesting finish, because let's not, like, there could be chaos here. Harvey's a quick driver, he's on the mediums, starting to make a dent into Cole Paradox. Cavalis is on a rampage this race and gaining time every single lap. There's so much to be decided. There's so many choices that could be made by those drivers. Of course, a safety car could come out and scupper all these plans about DRS detection zones, which Jamie's already done with King Five Panda breaking it again. I think I'm going to stop over and analysing Jack, especially now King Five Panda has dropped it, and that might be a tentative rejoin. He's just held out in front of Kalen. Kalen might have some choice words about that. I don't know if it was anything legal. I don't know if it was anything dangerous, but it looked borderline.
Panda did run wide a little bit on the exit, as he did overtake Kalen. I don't know what it does in real life, but I'm pretty sure in real life you have to give the place back if you do, say, overtake off track. Even during like P1, because Panda did run wide a tiny bit. as he overtook Kalen, or after the overtake was done. So I don't know. Let's hope Scottish penalty now.
We won't speculate on any potential incidents then at the moment. The game's resolved. They're in the position the game thinks they should be in, so I suppose that's key. Nobody's going to get any silly penalties for it, at least from the game. But this adds another layer to the whole championship fight, because if Danjo finishes second, Diddy finishes fifth and doesn't get the fastest lap, it's a Danjo title fight. And with the likes of, Danjo can overtake him, King Fi Panda could overtake him, Kalen, Cavolis, Harvey, Cole Paradox all in the mix. Diddy could end up finishing fifth or even lower with Danjo in P2. It's now a distinct possibility. And definitely something Diddy might have to think on now. It is maybe just going to try and push Danjo, getting a little bit loose through Lacomzo and just bordering on that 1 second time frame. Danjo really struggling, it must be said, compared to the mediums with these hards, maybe just not quite up to temperature, not quite feeling comfortable with the grip levels they are offering at the moment. And Diddy taking full advantage of that, has of course run this entire race on a softer compound than Danjo, so has had that little bit more confidence in the grip, but that's going to wane as this stint progresses on. Cavolis, I'm surprised, hasn't quite been able to make a move just yet on Kalen, as...
Oh no. Oh dearie, no. Danjo, he just got on the inside too much and the curb just spat him out.
Well, that could be the title deciding moment. Danjo then through the second part, he has got a large amount of damage. King Fi Panda into the pits. I wonder if there was a coming together between those two that maybe started off the whole equation. I
don't think there was. I think Danjo lost it on his own, but Panda kind of, as Danjo was spinning, I think Panda got caught up then. So I think Panda was literally at the wrong place, wrong time. Danjo has continued with his in-plate damage. And he gets a penalty as well. It's not just in-plate damage though, it's actually, he's lost a lot.
Yeah, we caught the accident on stream. He's pretty much lost 2/3 of that left side of that wing. That's going to be a massive downgrade on downforce. A double down there, I suppose you could call it. It's really going to affect him. I understand why he stayed out. Of course, he's wanting to, he needs a safety car essentially. There's no point pitting and being at the back and then, just trying to finish and you're never going to make up a pit stop and the wing damage change. It's unfortunately gave him the 3-second penalty, just due to, like we've seen him pull on there, running a bit wide. But he really needs a safety car, and he really needs Diddy now to either get caught up in something, lost a lot of time, or to get a 3-second himself. So Danjo's, it was in his own hands to a certain degree. He was always going to be up against it with the 10-point difference. It was always going to be in Diddy's favour. It is now fully in Diddy's favour. And Danjo needing a little bit of outside interference, you could almost say, or a bit of divine intervention to somehow make things work. Pistol Racing and Little One look to almost be playing bumper cars there. Danjo does come into the pits now. I'm surprised at that doing that now was a co-paradox. I'm trying not to laugh, mate. It caught me off guard. Losing it on the exit of turn 1. I think he just about kept it out of the wall, did the Sauber driver, but a big moment there for Cole Paradox. And I suppose now, Jack, we just have to let this race run. Our attention, I suppose, is going to draw to the battle for 2, 3, 4 and 5. Currently contested between Diddy, Kalen, Cavolis, Harvey. That is the main focus at the moment, and unless there's, like I say, some divine intervention, Diddy's title is in his hands.
Yeah, it's just so unfortunate for Danjo, because I don't think this is not the way for a championship to end. It is literally, if it does end this way, it's literally just down to unluckiness. As Agatha Arley, I think, gets his second penalty of the race. Yes, he does. He's on 6 seconds now. But I think especially what we would have wanted was, you know, for it to go down properly, for there to be a proper championship battle between Diddy and Danjo. But for it to end like this, it's just unlucky, especially compared to how consistent both Danjo and Diddy have been all season. They've been so consistent. It's actually really impressive. Tier 1, like, levels, definitely. Like, they could be in Tier 1 next season. Like, they're very consistent.
Absolutely. It's maybe just that little bit extra pressure on Danjo, knowing that he had to go and give something special and hope for a little bit of luck to maybe come his way, or a little bit of a misstep from Diddy. Having to maximise points. Diddy just had to match Danjo in a sense. That pressure just finally cracking the consistency. What a battle though going on here. Cabolas, Kalen and Harvey. Kalen going from P3 down to P5 there, just due to the strength of the DRS. Diddy has broken away from these three, using those mediums to break forward and break the DRS, of course. But Jamie 4.4 clear. It's a shame, great race he's running. Shame he's not gonna get a huge amount of camera time, but just the lack of battles there'll be. But like you say with the title, I was secretly hoping Jamie, Diddy, Danjo and Panda, you know, four with great pace at the start. They were going to just, at least them four anyway, be battling and be swapping positions, and it's going to be, is Danjo going to be able to position himself to get first, and Jamie going to be able to position himself not to come fourth, and or Diddy, sorry, not Jamie, and just this back and forward of tactical overtaking and managing ERS and managing DRS and managing tyres. But like you say, it's a shame if it is decided in that one incident, but still will be a great season for both to hold their heads high, because like you said, their pace, their consistency, definitely earning a spot for Tier 1 contention next season, of course. Pace might be different on the new game. We'll wait and see with that. No plans, of course, released at the moment, but I do believe the game is technically out tomorrow for some people, or Friday for the standard edition. So obviously we're going to finish up on Thursday on this game, and then I'm imagining there'll be something released. I'm a little bit out of the loop, I'll be honest. I haven't really put my head admin hat on this season, Jack. I don't know if you've noticed.
That's all I'll say. But speaking about F1, that is Cole Paradox get past Toby. These two having a great battle, just swapping positions each lap. And so are Harvey and Cavolis. If Cavolis slips up the inside, lovely move from Cavolis on Harvey. I think Harvey wasn't expecting that move to be done. It's not really many moves get done at Bruxelles. So a great move from Cavolis. But yeah, speaking about next game, I have no plans on getting it. So for now, and I think next season I won't be racing, because as I say, I have no plans to get the F1 game next year.
Terrible. To be fair, I have not yet purchased it. We'll wait and see. There will be, of course, some form of racing here at Cohen. There always is. I suppose it just depends on the sign-ups and the capacity. But again, I'm not going to speculate on that. I'll leave that to the rest of the head admin boys. Yellow flags further down the field, though, Jack. I think that is DC. It is the Mercedes of DC having a DC from the connection to his asphalt and having a bit of spin. Currently, though, still on for a point, so, you know, every cloud. Thankfully for maybe some people's race, and disappointingly for some others, no safety car. I'll leave you to decide if it's a thankful or a disappointment based on what camp you're in, although DC is now out of the points because he has pit. Cheeky wee fastest lap incoming, we'll wait and see. But Harvey, Cavolis and Keelan gonna be bringing it right down to the wire, it looks like, for this final podium position, although Diddy only 1.1 up the road, could fall back into this mess. And I'm not commentating, cuss anybody. I would never do that, Jack, you know that. But let's say, for instance, there was a battle and Diddy didn't finish the race. All Dan needs to do is get to P7. And there's a good chance if a car's out of the race, there's a safety car. So I know we're saying it's pretty much done, but it's not done until it's done. And it's not done. How many duns was there? You can count them, tell me in the comments. But at the moment, Diddy doing everything he can. Very good. Diddy doing everything he can to keep out of the battle and keep any chance of that from, to his best ability, from happening. Just going to be starting then at lap 19. It is going to be 4 laps to go, including this one. And to be fair, it looks like, we were kind of debating with the tyre weight, it looks like these mediums are holding in pretty strong, Jack.
Yeah, I thought they would be kind of losing grip by around these laps, but apparently not. Mediums seem better than a lot of people thought, so fair enough. Now Harvey's actually in the DRS of Diddy, so I don't know if Diddy's tyres are losing grip or if he's just kind of conserving it now to the end, kind of bringing it home for a possible championship, as Pistol Racing now goes up to P7. As Cavalis, that is unfortunately, I think, ruined his podium chances for a podium tonight, getting a 3-second time penalty. Still, P5 is possible, which is still a good result, but still unfortunate.
Yeah, he got a really good run through Les Combes there, right on the rear of Caelan Bartlett's Mercedes. I think Caelan just a little bit tentative, maybe running slightly wide, and Cavalis following suit, getting caught in that little outside curb that can sometimes just hook you on at the exit of Les Combes, and unfortunately picks up the 3-second penalty whilst doing so. So yeah, P5 looking like a realistic option for the Lithuanian driver. Of course, still time for the drivers in front to pick up their own penalty, and still time for Harvey to challenge Diddy for this P2. Diddy holding ground, to be fair, to Jamie. That gap not really improving too much. Jamie running a commanding race, seeing him just at the bottom of the screen there for a split second. He'll be very happy with the way this race has run out. 3 laps to go, including this one then. The battle for P2 and P3 and P4 and maybe P5 heating up at the moment. Then the battle for provisional P6. Penalties, of course, are going to be a big impact on this one, although Little One and Pistol on 3, Agast Alloy on 6. So advantage Little One and Pistol, but still up for debate. Saying that, the Pistol has just got his 2nd penalty, so now it's advantage Little One and Agast Alloy almost now racing exclusively with the Pistol man to try and get P7. Of course, Little One still time for penalties, as that might be another one for Pistol Racing. They're just running a little bit foul of track limits there, battling Little One, but at least they're keeping it safe. No damage, no spins, no collisions, which we like to see. Co-Paradox and Tobes battling out on track course further back here, Jack, for P9, but penalty for Tobe is going to be the wrong doing. Season of what ifs for this man. You like to think he's had pace at times, but just always putting a foot wrong, spinning penalties, or just not quite getting qualifying together. He'll be looking to bounce back for next season. Pistol and Little One still going at it, though Pistol is fully ghosted. I wonder if that was just a half spin and then he didn't quite go full solid before the driver got into the same area as him, or hopefully it's not a connection issue, because that was noted at the start of the race that the connection strength didn't make too strong. But I think, I just spoke too soon. I was going to say I think we're all right. Pistol running a little bit deep through the chicane there, Jack, making contact with Little One, and not quite race over, but not a helping hand at all. 2 laps to go though, Jack. I think for the last 2 we'll concentrate in this battle for the top, well, for P2, it should be said.
Yeah, for P2 is, I think And enough room was given between Little One and Pistol. I think Pistol just got unlucky, a bit unlucky with the contact model there, to be honest. That's how most that instance that they happen in case and contact model being a bit, shall we say, poo. As Pistol Racing, saying that, is actually just retired on track, unfortunately. The same place where Strauss crashed to bring out that first and only safety car of this race. Kalen, though, that has ruined his chances of a podium. Yeah. He's now going to be either P4 or P5. Depends what Cavalis tries to do.
It is sort of splitting that battle into two, like you say, Pistol retiring the same place as Strauss. There are only two retirements. Touchwood, we've got one lap and a bit just to go, but both happening at the same place. And now it's Harvey versus Diddy for P2, Kalen versus Cavolis for P4. Little One looks pretty safe in P6 with Pens at the moment, although saying that, Cold Paradox 3.2 behind could maybe bridge the gap and sneak a P6 here. We'll wait and see. Danjo, though, currently in P13, is the last of the runners, has got Pens and looks to be going to be finishing the race dead last, picking up 0 points, which will give Diddy the title by 30 points as things stand, although he could just about to make it a few more. Kalen, though, is going to get mixy. This is brilliant racing right to the last. Kalen must be absolutely ruining that 3-second penalty on the penultimate lap there, because could have had the move on for P2, would have been on for a provisional P3 as things stands. Pistol Racing leaving the lobby there. But crucially for Kalen, it does put a car between himself and Cavalis, and maybe almost half guarantees the P4, and you never know if Harvey or maybe even Diddy gets a 3-second in this last part of the lap. Could bring the podium back into contention. Jamie, though, we're going to jump to him very, very shortly. Run a very dominant race, strong pace in the first half of the Grand Prix. Didn't quite manage to stick it right up the top in qualifying, but still was in the mix. Played the safety car right, got ahead his teammate to avoid the double stack. Although saying that, it is looking to be a 1-2 for the Racing Bulls. Harvey, though, going to have a run at Kalen. We'll jump back to that in a second. We're going to ride on board quickly with Jamie, who crosses the line to win in Belgium. Kalen and Harvey side by side through the final chicane. It isn't going to matter due to Kalen's penalty. Diddy finishes P2 and is going to be the champion. Harvey P3, Kalen P4, Cavalis P5. Little One, I think, is going to lose out to Cold Paradox here. We'll just confirm. Does not. No, he holds on to Cold Paradox, who finishes P7. Agast Alloy P8. Tobes P9, but loses P9 to King Fi Panda, dropping to P10. And then some large gaps coming up. It's going to be Wuban, DC, and a very, very... I'm not going to speculate on his emotions, but disappointed, I think we'll say. Danjo going to round off P13, picking up no points this evening. And he's going to lose out the title to this man here, Jack. Diddy, of course. Little One, I've told you, stop leaving the lobby. You muck up the results. How many times do I need to tell you in a season?
God, man. It's always one.
There always is one. He might have just forfeited points if somebody doesn't notice. Hopefully the admin team are on it. You'll have to speak nice to DC. Driver of the day then from the game is Harvey. He did pick up a lot of positions. Cavalis did the same, but I think it's going to have to be Jamie for me.
I agree with that. I think Jamie deserves driver of the day. It's such a dominant performance and well deserved, especially after an unfortunate qualifying where I think he just cut a bit too much of the pit lane and crashed.
Of course, yeah, that's how he ended up P6. I was kind of wondering, so that's how he... yeah, completely forgot about that. Started P6 after that collision in the pit lane entry. Finishes P1 ahead of Diddy. Well done, Diddy. You are, provisionally at least, and I would say it's barring some kind of miracle in a vast array of penalties, it is all but confirmed officially. champion for Tier 2 Season 12. Harvey, a solid race in P3, ahead of Kalen in P4. Cavolis, P5. Then it will be the little one, who is P6. Cold Paradox then will drop to 7 after that's reinstigated, I suppose is the word. Agastoli then 8th, Panda 9th, Tobes 10th, Wiban 11th, DC 12th, Danjo 13th, and then it will be Pistol and Strauss, the two non-finishers. Fastest lap going to Panda in P9, gets a nice little bonus point to go with his pole position. Again, some disappointing races, some very there'll be some very happy with the results. Overall though, a great race to top off a great season, and I think pretty much all the drivers can go away holding their heads high. You know, Danjo and Diddy, two newcomers battling out for the title. It looks to have pretty much gone Diddy's way. In fact, I would say it has went Diddy's way. It would need a miracle for it to not. Panda, a strong contender at times, as well as Little One, and Harry Palmer, though Harry Palmer maybe let down a little bit by availability. And then a few that might be disappointed. Club PR, Tobes, you know, a few like that, Strauss, Cold Paradox. So a mixed bag of the season, but nonetheless, a great one at that. Is that all you've got to say?
Was I supposed to be paying attention?
Yeah.
I was too focused on my phone saying about how you get mad at Little One for leaving each time. But yeah, I think you were talking about how good the race was, which it was. It was a great race. Very unfortunate for Danjo for it to have to end that way. But there had to be one champion at the end of the day.
It is, yeah, that is the thing, you know, grid of 20 drivers, only one of them can win it in the end, and, well, it has went to the newcomer in the RB Diddy OX. I'm sure the celebrations have already started. It is a shame with the crossplay and the way Discord would work to be able to get a chat with him. You usually wouldn't be able to hear him, so I don't know, we'll maybe get a word out in the server from maybe that could be a new thing, a championship quote. I don't know. It is a shame we can't really get there. We haven't had the podium interviews as such this season and that, but hopefully we'll figure out a workaround for next season. All that I think is left to see then, Jack. Thank you for joining me this season. Of course, Jamie for stepping in, and you stepping in up to lead comms at times. It's been a pleasure when I have been here to commentate over this division. So on that, I'd like to thank yourself, thank Jamie and that, everybody else that's been involved in the comms. All our drivers, both full-time reserves, those that have raced, those that have had to drop from full-time, you know, as much as the admin team, which I'll get on to, put in a lot of effort, we can't have a league without drivers. And it's sadly the lack of drivers has cost us go from 4 to 2 tiers, but still being the 2 tiers is pretty damn good. And, you know, 15 drivers tonight, I think it is one of the lower attendance we've had in this tier, but they've been pretty good with our attendance. We've had decently full grids week in, week out. Cold Paradox and Strauss, of course, adminning the tier. Big thank you to those. DC been doing a lot, as well as Dan with the standings, and of course a sort of honorary shout out to Tobes. He kind of had an unofficial admin, you know, moved at times. So if there's anybody I missed, unfortunately, I just can't think of you right now. But yeah. That's my closing words for the season. We'll hopefully see most of the drivers back for next season on the new game. Well, we might not see Jack, so bye, Jack.
Yeah.
Any words to close off the season, though, mate?
Yeah, it's been fantastic to commentate over. It's been a lot of surprises, a lot of different results, but it's been the main two. I've always Diddy and Danjo, but it's still been a good season. There's been ups, there's been downs, there's been chaos, there's been a drama. It's just been a fantastic tier to commentate over, especially with Scott. It's just been fantastic season all around.
Couldn't have put it much better myself. Well, we won't keep you much longer then, folks, because probably half of you aren't even listening to us anymore. But make sure to check in on Thursday night. Jamie will be here with the season finale for tier number 1. I don't know if I can make it. I'll be honest, I might not be able to race. I think, are you not in the same boat, Jack? Are you going to be in attendance?
I'll be in attendance.
Jack will be there then, so you can go watch Jack race. I think I'm going to struggle because I have to be elsewhere at about an hour and a half before the race, and I don't think I'll make it home in time. But anyway, that doesn't really matter. Thank you for joining us. Make sure to give Jamie some love for the finale on first day of Tier 1, and then keep an eye out in the server if anybody is still listening, and hopefully we'll have updates in the near future. Enjoy the rest of your evening, enjoy the rest of your week. Arrivederci and goodbye.